So for tonight's game, I have my best friend, and we each wrote out 5 questions about ourselves that we're going to see how well our best friend knows each other. But this is a normal game because it has consequences. We have a package of Bean Boozled, and there's 2 of every color, and 1 is a good flavor and 1 is a bad flavor. So for example, the white ones, it's either coconut or spoiled milk. The brown one is either canned dog food or chocolate pudding, and on and on and on it goes. So for every question it gets answered wrong, they have to eat a jelly bean. But if the question gets answered right, the person that asked the question has to eat a jelly bean. And by our reactions, we'll see if it's a good flavor or a bad flavor. So this is really going to test our marriage about how well we know each other. Do you want to ask the first question? I won't peek.
Yes, I'll pull it up. What's my middle name?
Aaron. Easy.
So I have to eat one.
Yeah, that means you have to eat one. Wait, what color is it? Blue? So it's either toothpaste or berry blue.
Very blue.
Like that, okay. So my first question should be easy. What's my favorite book?
Oh.
My favorite book.
Crime and Punishment?
Correct. Crime and Punishment is my favorite book, so I'm gonna choose one of these guys, which is either rotten egg or buttered popcorn.
No.
No, you have to eat it all?
No.
That's rotten egg.
I'm gonna spit mine.
Oh my gosh. How do they decide how to... This is rotten egg. Okay. Oh.
My turn.
Yes, your second question. Oh, that's horrible.
Don't look.
I didn't see the answer.
When I was a kid, who was my favorite stuffed animal?
Your favorite stuffed animal? Oh, like the pig, and you want to know the pig's name? I know it's a stuffed pig. It's not Piglet. It's Gordon. Gordy! Yes, I got it. Gordy, that counts. Okay, so what color are you gonna go for? So this is either dead fish or strawberry banana smoothie. Hey, the bright side is we know each other really well. We've gotten all of them right. Does it taste like dead fish?
Yep.
So you know what dead fish smells like, tastes like now. Alright, so my second question. What is my Taco Bell order? You have to get it exactly right, or else you have to eat. My Taco Bell order.
A cheesy gordita crunch, stuffed with nacho cheese shell, and a tostada with no tomato and no chipotle sauce.
Baby, you know me so well. You are my best friend. Okay, so wait, that means I have to eat. I'm gonna go with this one because it is either dirty dishwasher or birthday cake, and I feel like that's one of the least bad tasting. It's dishwasher. It's scary how accurate, like, if a dishwasher was dirty and that's what you tasted it.
It's dishwater.
Dishwater. Yeah, it's like soapy. Probably better than dead fish. All right, so your third question.
What's my favorite dessert?
That's not fair. You have so many that are your favorite. Like, for your birthday or just like any day of the week? Like, or just your favorite dessert? I would just a chocolate chip cookie. You seem hesitant. A chocolate chip cookie.
Yeah.
Okay, that means you have to eat. Go for this one. It's either juicy pear or booger. Everyone see your face? It's a booger? I think you've only gotten one good flavor, so that's a positive. How'd the booger taste?
Salty.
All right, so my third question. What was my favorite seminary class?
A Wendellberry class.
I took a class in Wendellberry and it was my favorite. So I'm gonna go for, this one, which is either Tutti Frutti or stinky socks? Oh, finally, I got a good one. It's Tutti Frutti. That's good. All right, so. Oh, wait, no, I think that's dirty socks.
Are you sure?
It turned on me. Oh. Go. Go.
What's my favorite color?
Your favorite color? I think that changes all the time. Your favorite color is purple? Yes!
Come on.
I've gotten all of yours right. And you've gotten all mine right, so we really are best friends, but I need you to go for this one. It's either stink bug or toasted marshmallow.
No.
Go for the poop or dog
Chocolate
food.
pudding.
Oh,
Chocolate pudding or canned dog food.
okay. It was a dog food?
Yes.
I can smell it. Just when you said it, I can smell it. Franklin is excited. He smells the dog food. Oh my goodness. Okay, so my fourth question.
Yeah.
What is my favorite coffee roaster?
Stumptown. Sumptown. Sump. It's Sump.
Final answer.
Sump.
God, I was hoping you'd have to get one wrong. It is we know each other so well, so I'm gonna go for toothpaste or berry blue. Hey Frank, you want some of these? That's toothpaste, but it's definitely not bad.
That's good.
Yeah, it's definitely the best of the worst flavors. Okay, so your next question.
Who is my celebrity crush?
I'm not a celebrity. A celebrity crush.
Hey, baby. Down.
I don't know.
Down.
Jake Gyllenhaal?
No. It's Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn? Who are you? Who am I married to? Okay, I'm gonna go for this one, which is either...
Down.
Wait. I'm gonna go for this one, which is either peach or barf. I think they're all bad. Yeah, that's barf. All right, my last question, and I know you're gonna get this wrong. I don't think you know this. What's the name of the scary movie I watched in elementary that had me sleep in my parents' bed for a whole month? The babysitter put it on, and I watched it. She got in big trouble. I literally had to sleep in my parents' bedroom for over a month in their bed.
Final Destination?
Oh my gosh, yes! How do you know? I thought I'd tell you that.
No, you told me.
Oh my gosh, I tell you everything.
Eat It and Weep. Stink bug or toasted marshmallow?
I can't tell. Oh no! It's stink bug.
Oh my gosh, that smells like a skunk.
It does. It smells like Franklin farted. So Passage, wait, you got all my questions right. I did. Did I get all your questions right?
You didn't get my celebrity crush.
You're celebrity crush. So I guess you're a better best friend than I am, but 4 out of 5, and you got 5 out of 5. So the test results show that we are best friends. Thanks for tuning in. Hey Passage, thanks for joining. Hope you enjoyed Becca and I seeing how well we knew each other and eating nasty things. It was disgusting, but the things I do for you, you know I love you. All right, so we're continuing in our series on friendship, and tonight we are going to take a look at one of the most famous friendships in the whole Bible, which is between this guy named David and his best friend Jonathan. And so just before we hop in, I want to quickly review what we learned last week, which was our first one in this series. And we learned that friendship is a necessary part of our lives. God created us and formed us with the intention that we be in relationship and in deep friendship with other people. And we saw that science and research shows that healthy people are those with friendships. And we're not talking about a bunch of friendships, but even someone could be healthy mentally and physically if they have one or two really, really deep friendships. And we learned that Jesus wants to be our friend. That in the Gospel of John, chapter 15, we learned that greater love is no one than this, that he who lays down his life for his friends. And it goes on to describe how Jesus no longer calls us servants, but calls us friends because of the life, death, and resurrection and what he accomplished for us. And what he accomplished was a relationship with God because of Jesus. And we ended by saying that Jesus cares about who you're friends with. Because what we know is that friends have a huge influence in our lives, and Jesus cares about who you're friends with. And so let's hop in on the story of David and Jonathan. And I think we're going to learn 3 things from their friendship. But before we get started, this story between David and Jonathan occurs for like 7 or 8 chapters in 1 Samuel. And we're not going to read all of it. So I'm going to kind of take 3 things away from this whole narrative and kind of show you some scriptures to highlight. But before, when we read the story of David and Jonathan, it can be pretty weird at the way their relationship and friendship is described, especially when we compare it to friendships we have today. Because today, friendship is often defined by digital access. So what that means is today people define friendship as if I have access to their digital space and if they have access to my digital space, we're friends. Today I went on Facebook and I have over 700 Facebook friends. Spoiler, I actually don't have 700 friends. That's a lot of people. If you're one of my Facebook friends, you're probably a real friend. But oftentimes we reduce friendship in our culture and society by digital access. But what I want us to know is that the Bible has a much deeper and richer understanding of what friendship is. Because friendship, what we find out, is more than just shared hobbies and interests. But friendship is, in the Bible, defined as someone who knows your soul. What we find in the Hebrew language is that the word for friend and other words related to friendship is really closely tied to secret, the word for secret. Because a friend is someone that you share your secrets with, who knows your secrets, that you show the full self because you don't have to put on an act, but they know you to the deepest sense. And biblically, that is what true friendship really is. And so, a helpful thing that I think to frame a biblical friendship is a biblical friendship should involve 3 things. It should involve commitment, sacrifice, and God. And so without any hesitation, let's just jump right in. Like I said, this happens between 7 or 8 chapters, so I'm going to give an Adam summary to the story before we jump in. So first, there's this guy named Saul, and he's king of Israel. Saul had a son whose name was Jonathan. David killed Goliath, and what that ended up doing was making Saul very angry, because the king Saul was jealous because the whole kingdom of Israel saw David kill the biggest enemy, and they were chanting, Saul has killed his thousands, but David his tens of thousands. AK, Saul was super jealous. He felt his power and his control threatened by David, and so he was really angry and jealous, and resulted in trying to kill David 3 times with his spear. And throughout this whole process, Jonathan and David are best friends. And as you can imagine, there's a lot of drama and a lot of weird things that happen when your best friend is the son of the guy trying to kill you. So first, the first thing that biblical friendship includes is commitment. And we see this in David and Jonathan's relationship at the very, very beginning of their relationship. They meet and quickly become friends. And here's where we pick up in 1 Samuel chapter 18. After David had finished talking with Saul, Jonathan became one in spirit with David, and he loved him as himself. From that day, Saul kept David with him and did not let him return home to his family. And Jonathan made a covenant with David. He made a promise with David because he loved him as he loved himself. Jonathan took off the robe he was wearing and gave it to David, along with his tunic and even his sword, his bow, and his belt. So here we have them meeting. They quickly become friends. Jonathan loves David as he loves himself. And how he demonstrates this friendship is by making a commitment, a covenant, a promise, all kind of the same words. And Jonathan demonstrates this commitment by giving up his tunic, his sword, his bow, all these things that in this time symbolized security, status, wealth, and honestly for Jonathan, these things symbolized his future role as king. So Jonathan is giving up his future kingdom as king to David and is committing himself to David through thick and thin. And what we quickly find out is this commitment is tested. And which leads us to our second thing that biblical friendship includes, which is sacrifice. Now, maybe another helpful way to think about this is biblical friendship includes selflessness. Someone that is caring for the other person and sacrificing their needs, their wants, and their desires for the betterment and good of the other person. I'm sure we've all been in friendships where it seems like the other person is taking and not really giving to the friendship, and it feels like they're sucking life out of us, draining us, always asking us for things and taking things from us, but not necessarily giving back or pouring in or encouraging. And those friendships are difficult and toxic, and we're going to learn more about that next week. But a good biblical friendship requires sacrifice. And Jonathan and David demonstrate this as they continue their friendship in 2 chapters later in 1 Samuel 20. It says, Saul's anger flared up at Jonathan, and he said to him, "You son of a perverse and rebellious woman, don't I know that you have sided with the son of Jesse to your own shame and to the shame of the mother who bore you? As long as the son of Jesse lives on this earth, neither you nor your kingdom will be established. Now send someone to bring to me, for he must die." "Why should he be put to death? What has he done?" Jonathan asked his father. But Saul hurled his spear at him to kill him. Then Jonathan knew that his father intended to kill David. So Saul is the king. He realizes his son is betraying him because he's fulfilling his commitment and promise to David to protect him, to be his friend, to sacrifice his life, and do whatever it takes for the friendship. And his dad is angry. And I love that Saul hurled his spear at him. And that is when Jonathan knew that his father wanted to kill David. Like, none of the other times that he tried to kill David was he convinced that it took a spear being thrown at him by his father. Like, oh, I think he wants to kill my friend. And so what we learn is that Jonathan is sacrificing his relationship with his father. He's sacrificing his future role as king that is inherently his. And he's sacrificing power and influence and royalty because he is following through with his commitment, and he is looking after what is best for his friend David, even when his friend David has his life on the line and someone is after to kill him, and he is sacrificing things to make sure his friend is okay. The third thing, which I think might be the most controversial part of what I think David and Jonathan exempt biblical friendship is God. Now, I know some of you might be watching and maybe you're not a Christian, you don't believe in Jesus and you don't follow him, and you might be thinking, so Adam, are you saying I can't have a good friendship? And I would say you can definitely have friendships if you're not a believer and if you're not following Jesus, but I would stand firm to say that without the Lord in a friendship, there's only so far you can go. There's only so deep a friendship. There's only so much goodness in a friendship without the Lord. And I think God, when he is the center and integral part of a friendship, that friendship can go deeper, it can grow bigger, and it can be way more meaningful and healthy for the long term of our lives. And so maybe another part of the group watching is thinking, so if I'm a believer and if I'm following Jesus, are you telling me I can't have friendships with unchristians? Of course you can have friendships with people that aren't following Jesus, but I would say the same thing. There is going to be a limit, and there is going to be a lack of depth in that friendship, and there's only so far you can go. And what I believe a biblical friendship is two believers in Jesus that are following him, coming together, committing themselves to each other, sacrificing each other, and putting God at the center of our lives, where they are encouraging each other to grow in their relationship in the Lord. And we see this in 1 Samuel chapter 23. It says, while David was at Horesh in the desert of Ziph, he learned that Saul had come out to take his life. And Saul's son Jonathan went to David at Horesh and helped him find strength in God. And that's a key verse. He didn't try to help David find strength in himself or in his money or in his power and his influence. Jonathan, as his best friend, went to him and said, you need to find strength in this hard position, not in yourself, not in me as your friend, but in God. Because I think it's really important, because I see it all the time. When we have a friend that is in difficulty, when they're struggling, we often have them rely on us. Like, hey, I will get you through this. Just lean on me. Hey, we are going to do this together. And that is good and necessary. But if there isn't this pointing to the Lord of like, the Lord will sustain you, the Lord will get you through this, the strength you need doesn't come from me or yourself, it comes from the Lord. And we see that friendship that has the Lord at the center of our lives has all of this tremendous growth and flourishing that cannot be possible without the Lord and that friendship. And here's something that I think is really important in this story as we follow it over the 7 chapters, is that they make a commitment, they sacrifice for the friendship, but ultimately their friendship grows through difficulties and challenges. Because here's what happens in a friendship. Difficult things happen because it's two sinners sharing a lot of time together. We butt heads, there's going to be conflict, and there's going to be difficulties in a friendship. And at that moment, people will either bail or they'll continue to add on struggle and drama. And what ends up happening is in their friendship, in a biblical friendship, when hardship and difficulties happen, it is an opportunity for this friendship to grow and strengthen because they have the Lord at their center, they're committed to each other, and they're sacrificing and being selfless for the other friend. And so my question for you is, in hard times, have you seen your friendship grow? Last scripture I want to read is from 1 Samuel chapter 20. And so it says, so Jonathan made a covenant with the house of David, saying, may the Lord call David's enemy to account. And Jonathan had David reaffirm his oath out of love for him, because he loved him as he loved himself. So like I just said, difficulties and friendships are an opportunity, difficulty and hardships are an opportunity for friendships to grow and deepen. And here, when they have struggle and when their friendship is tested, what do? They recommit, reaffirm the promise and commitment that they made to each other and are hunkering down and committing once again to be friends in a difficult and hard time. So to summarize really quickly, to let you know where we've been, is first, David and Jonathan made a commitment to each other, and they both sacrificed and gave up things for the betterment of the other person and of their relationship. And they had God at the center, and ultimately their friendship grew when difficulty and challenges happened, because their relationship was not founded on the other person or themselves, but on the Lord, and they went to Him for strength. And so here's a question I want to leave you with. Are you a friend that is committed, selfless, and focused on helping the other person grow in Christ? Because if you take biblical friendship, like I said, committed, sacrifice, and God, if those 3 things are what make a biblical friendship, are you a friend that demonstrates these things? Are you a good biblical friend that the book of Proverbs would say that you are a wise friend that is going to be leading them to the Lord in fullness and in flourishing? So I want y'all to be thinking about this question over the next couple days. And on Sunday, when we meet in our communities, I would love to know your answer to this, on how you have been a good friend, or maybe how someone in your life has been a good friend because they were committed, selfless, and focusing on the Lord in y'all's relationship. Passage, I miss y'all and I love y'all so much. I will be soon giving updates on what it looks like for us to transition back into normal society, as the governor has kind of opened up Texas a little bit, and what the youth ministry looks like going forward. What about Wednesdays and communities? All of that will be coming out soon, so stay tuned. I love y'all, and hopefully I'll see y'all Sunday. Middle school will meet at 2 p.m. and high school will meet at 1 p.m. on Sunday to discuss this teaching. Love y'all. Have a great week.
Oh,
That was horrible. I think they're all bad.
I have to go to